Hey everybody, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to our furniture flipping adventure. Today I have this really beautiful piece and I can't wait to give it a new look. It's got some damage on the top, but other than that it's in really good shape. It doesn't have any major scratches or dings to it, so it's going to be a pretty easy one to prepare for painting. I was lucky enough that all the hardware is still there, so I'm ready to get started on this flip and show you guys what I have in store for it. So come on, let's get flipping. To get my piece really good and clean and ready for paint, I'm going to use some degreasing crud cutter. It's just going to take all the oils and dirt and grime off of it before I get painting. I'm going to wipe it down with a rag. I have a bucket of water over there that I'll be using to rinse out my rag, and then when I'm all done, I'm going to come back through with some fresh, clean water just to wipe down any of my cleaner residue that might be left behind. Okay, this pretty lady is ready to sand. I'm going to give the whole piece a once over with some 220 grit sandpaper. I have my orbital sander here, I have the Ryobi, and I'm not looking to go through the finish on most of the dresser, just a light scuff sand to help my paint adhere really well. Then I'll go back over it with some water to rinse all my sanding dust off. I do ideally want to stain the top, but there is some discoloration and kind of looks like staining, maybe some water damage, I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to start sanding it and see what we have to work with, and then I'll decide when I see more of what's going on what I'm going to do up there. But ideally I'd like to stain the top. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I might actually end up sanding the doors by hand. They're definitely not flat at all, so it may be easier for me to just take my sanding disc in my hand and work over the edges since I don't really need to sand too hard. My wood top here has some discoloration, probably from water damage somewhere along the line. So I did the best thing that I knew to do. I contacted Angie at Transcend Furniture Gallery. She's based out of Canada and she has a YouTube channel, so make sure you check her out. But she is absolutely great with working with wood, so I knew she would be the one to ask. She recommended that I try oxalic acid. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. It's a type of wood bleach and I'm going to be trying that out. I've read the directions and I'm going to be wearing my goggles and gloves and giving this a good scrub down with this wood bleaching agent to hopefully get out some of these stains. So I've taken some before and we'll see how it looks after.
I did 2 rounds of the oxalic acid using a scrub brush as recommended on the packaging. Afterwards, I gave the top 3 water rinses followed by a very light sand with some 220 grit sandpaper just to smooth everything back out.
Thank you, Angie. That worked really well. I can still see slightly where the stain was, but I know where it was and I'm looking for it. It definitely did a great job, better than I could have really expected. And so if you have a stain in your wood, you can give this a try. I actually went through the veneer in my sanding process right here and right here. I guess I was kind of assuming it wasn't a veneer, so I really wasn't paying much attention or being very careful. So I'm going to be doing a wash over the top instead of a penetrating stain because that'll definitely show that. But I'm so pleased that I was able to get these stains almost all the way gone, and I definitely would recommend the oxalic acid and bleaching the top. Angie did say make sure that your bleach is not just bleach, it has to have the it's got to have that acid stuff in it for it to work properly. So if you're going to do this, make sure you buy the right stuff. I bought mine at Home Depot. My Home Depot didn't have it. I had to order it in, but I got a little container of it, so I have plenty to use. This only used a heaping tablespoon, so I have a bunch to use for future projects. I sprayed the first coat of paint with my sprayer, but my sprayer was really acting up, and when we took it apart we realized that the tip was actually bent. So I have some sandpaper here in my pocket, and I'm just going to be hand brushing this next coat on so I can go over all the areas and just make sure that they are up to standard, sand any drips that I find, and just give them a really good coat. With the white primer and then the white spray coat, I'm really thinking this is probably going to be the only other coat that I need. And my top's taped off, so I don't have to worry about that. And then after I get done with this, then I'm going to be doing the wash up top. I'm going to go ahead and get this all ready to do my wash on the top. I'm going to be using some beige that I have. It's the Dixie Belle sandbar, and I'm going to be mixing it with 1 part paint to 1 part water and doing a wash over the top of this. I debated on whether I wanted to do this beige wash or a gray wash, but I feel like the tones that are already in the wood are just going to go better with a beige. So we're going to try that first. Alright, so since this is the very first video we're airing in August, I wanted to take just a moment to thank all the people who bought me a coffee in July. Buy Me a Coffee is just a website that allows you to donate money to your favorite YouTubers and artists like that. I received donations from John and Joanne, Christine, Henson's Home Furnishings, and an anonymous source. And with that money, I plan on actually maybe buying a cup of coffees, but I also plan on using it to upgrade some of my equipment. Mainly right now I'm focusing in on like dolly type things to help me carry the furniture around, because I'm not very good at lifting things. You can ask my husband. I am next to useless. So that's what I'm going to be using some of that money for. Also, I want to thank those who have supported me in other ways by leaving me kind comments. I really appreciate that. I know that when you put yourself on the internet, there's going to be those people who are not always kind, but really 95% of my comments are always such kind words, and I really do appreciate it. It supports me in ways that you probably don't understand. We are planning on doing the end of the month recap where we go through everything that we did that month and what we sold it for, but we're going to begin that at the end of this month. I just wasn't organized enough to get July done. So in August, end of August, we'll be getting a video out about hopefully all the pieces we've sold in that month. For this piece, we bought it on Facebook Marketplace for $20, and that's only because I checked the recently reduced section and it had been listed for over $100, I think, and they just ran out of time and they needed it gone, so they reduced it to $20, and I snatched it up right away that day. We put about $15 in paint, primer, and poly in this piece. My oxalic acid, my paint wash on the top, and the barkeeper's friend that I used to polish up the handles, I'm gonna just estimate in at $5 to make it an even $40 for the whole makeover. Now, I've never done a wash on the top before, and it absolutely 100% hid those spots where I went through the veneer, and I cannot see the stains anymore. So my original plan was to stain the top a medium to dark color and kind of go with a more farmhousey distressed vibe. But when I went through the veneer, I had to pivot and replan, and that's just something you have to learn to do in furniture flipping. Sometimes you make mistakes or it throws you a curveball, like I had to bleach it out anyway, and you just have to learn to roll with it and make it into something different. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I hope you will subscribe, and I'll see you on Saturday with our next flip. Bye!